Today I am delighted to be speaking with the electronic music duo, Autechre, who have agreed to discuss their creative work with us. And for viewers who don't know me, my name is Preset. I'm a virtual character with a particular interest in the field of electronic music making.
We are happy to chat with you today, Preset. And let's remind viewers that Autechre is in fact comprised of two people working as one. But we gather that this animated Ventrilo-Dialogue format limits us to a single voice. Is that right?
I'm afraid so, yes. Let's begin then.
Fire away.
I remember being at one of your concerts a few years ago and two things struck me. The first thing I noticed was how dark it was in the venue. Autechre performed without stage lights and I found this somewhat disorienting. I couldn't see a thing, I didn't know where to direct my attention, and I was denied the spectacle of a quote-unquote live performance. Another thing I noticed was that your show offered brief moments of danceable grooves or catchy melodies, but these vanished almost as soon as they appeared. Frustrating. For the most part, the evening was characterized by abstract soundscapes and difficult listening. So there I was, off in the corner, trying to do my little robot dance to Autechre's music, but failing miserably. Having said that, the show was nevertheless very stimulating and made me reflect on my assumptions regarding what I listen for in music.
Well, Preset, as for the darkness in the concert venue, we work with the belief that nothing should distract our listeners from the musical sound, whether it be the sight of us working, our electronic equipment, or some colorful set of visuals projected on a screen. I suppose you could say that we're purists in that way, believers in that old cliché of European classical music, that music can be an absolute thing. That music on its own is enough to hold our attention.
I understand. And would it be fair to say that this darkness is perhaps a good metaphor for the space you're in as you perform? That you're literally feeling your way through a kind of musical darkness as you improvise your music in front of an audience?
Oh, absolutely, Preset, absolutely. We're like miners in a dark cave, searching for valuable ore with the help of our musical machinery. Now, as for those brief moments of straightforward grooves that soon disappear or mutate into something else altogether, the reason for this is that Autechre is more interested in the process, that is to say, the step-by-step unfolding of musical ideas through time. When we perform, we're not playing through a predetermined sequence of tracks, you know.
Right. That is the work of a DJ, is it not?
Right. We're not playing tracks. What we're doing is exploring a possibility space for sound.
So making your audience dance is not really a priority then?
Well, it's great when it happens and we love booming booty beats as much as the next person, but our priority is really with exploring that possibility space, wherever it may take us. As we mentioned earlier, we're purists.
It is interesting to me that Autechre should use spatial metaphors like possibility space because it makes what you do as a group sound almost architectural or even like something akin to a species of engineering. Do you think of your music in terms of design?
Yes, we do, Preset. When Autechre composes and improvises in the studio or on stage in front of an audience, we are constantly thinking in terms of designing environments that will allow us to access our musical machines and technologies on numerous levels, from running simple step sequences to building advanced algorithmic generators and so on. While this may sound somewhat dry and technical, for us it's a kind of deep play.
That's not dry at all. To an electronic music geek like me, that sounds endlessly fascinating.
Yes, Preset, and the thing to remember is that if you design the right kind of environment, that is to say, an environment with sufficient parameters to tweak and variables to vary, it can lead to infinite possibilities for creating sound. With the right kind of musical software or hardware environment, there are endless ways of working with sets of data, endless ways of working with the materiality of your equipment to make new sounds. In electronic music, there's no ceiling on one's creativity.
This is very helpful for understanding Autechre's music, because as I listen to it I often think of it as being its own kind of machine, inexorably working something out. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, yes. Autechre's music is really a kind of process music. And unlike a lot of electronic dance music, there's no simple repetition in our work. In fact, every moment is slightly different from the preceding one and the one after it. So I suppose the working out that you're hearing is simply the musical patterns, each one of them exploring their own possibility space.
Fascinating. No doubt that's a far cry from your roots in 1980s electronic dance music idioms like techno, acid house, and hip-hop, is it not?
For sure. While we always enjoyed the visceral impact of these musics, our path brought us elsewhere. We like to experiment, build, and travel in novel musical soundscapes.
So tell me, Autechre, why are you so secretive about the kinds of electronic musical equipment you use? Surely you realize that there are many listeners out there who would love to know something about your creative strategies and the gear you use to achieve them? Fans of your music have speculated about this for many years now.
A fair question, preset, but frankly we believe that each electronic musician needs to develop their own musical system, their own possibility space for sound. And besides, we tweak, or hotwire, or customize, or program, or build from scratch most of our gear, so our situation, like every musician's situation, indeed, like every artist's situation, is by definition unique and one of a kind. As we said in a real-world interview once, I don't remember where, we're always surprised that electronic music doesn't sound more different from one artist to the next. There's so much that has never been done.
One final question, Autechre. Could you recommend to our viewers some of your music to listen to? I realize with numerous recordings released over a long career this is a mightily reductive request. But perhaps you could recommend 2 or 3 tracks that represent your work.
Sure. Viewers might check out our piece called Drop, if only because it has been viewed many times on YouTube and thus already has a kind of social currency. And maybe an older piece such as the track Over and from 1995, as well as a more recent track like Sim, from 2008. If we're not mistaken, this last track has been discussed on the Brettworks.com blog, in an entry called On Autechre, Exercising the Materiality of Machine Music.
Thank you, Autechre, for talking with me today and discussing your fascinating and challenging work.
Our pleasure, preset. It's a rare joy to get to chat with a machine.